Hello, Bill. How are you?
Hello, Todd. I'm great, and I hope you are too. Oh,
Thank you. Yes, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here together and to talk about the workshop that's coming up. And I love the title, The Courageous Heart. Bhakti Yoga is a radical choice during challenging times.
yeah.
And I want to hear a little more. I mean, I know what Bhakti Yoga is. It's love and devotion, but it's so much more than that. And really, what's perplexing to me during this time is we live in challenging times. I mean, I can hardly even listen to the news anymore, and what I hear, it's so alarming. And I was thinking, like, well, where's the love? Where's the heart? And
Oh,
where,
good.
as yogis, how do we how do we deal with all of this? And how can a return to bhakti yoga, which is, and I'll let you explain more about it, can actually empower us to sort of find our way through this very difficult time. So,
Mhm.
what's your sense of all that?
Yeah, well, I share your sentiments.
Yeah.
Um, when I think of the word challenging in the title, challenging times,
Mm.
these are very challenging times. I think we're sharing a lot of people's sentiments here.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing that occurs to me is that in the context of yoga philosophy, throughout the centuries, philosophers of yoga have talked about dukkha,
Mm.
which is a Sanskrit word which can translated as sorrow or suffering, or um, and I think of it as life in a world that is challenging and for many people actually quite difficult, very
Mm.
difficult.
Mm.
Um, so in a way, we're talking about dukkha, a world of dukkha, and the role of the place of the courageous heart. What is the courageous heart in a world of dukkha? I think that's in a way asking what you're asking.
Yeah.
Um, I, uh, I like the word heart. And again, we go back to yoga philosophy. Throughout the generations, the heart has been a reference to the true self, to the universal self.
Mm.
And the contours of the true self. And here we have it, the heart defined as courageous, which is, I think, a very compelling word. I mean, the two words, the word courageous is actually is related to heart. La cour, the French,
Mm. Mm.
le courage. And so the yoga as yoga now it can point us toward the true self rather than the self that is kind of told how to act, what to do, the self that is broken and fractured
Mm.
uh, by vectors of anger and resentment and cruelty, racism. Um, the true self, the true heart, is not defined by those, according to yoga philosophy. That's not the true heart. Those are distortions of the true heart, you see,
Yeah.
and so we can think of the true heart as being courage and courageous, among other qualities. And very importantly, the deepest nature of the true heart, from the Bhakti perspective, is love. Now, um,
Mm.
that can sound kind of fuzzy and vague, and I'm very much aware of that. So when people think about Bhakti yoga, they might be thinking about everybody being all kind of soft and fuzzy. Uh, and there's nothing wrong with being soft and fuzzy. I like being soft and fuzzy. But I think uh, our purposes, our intention in offering this workshop, if I can speak for you as well, is to
Sure.
say, oh, okay, well, but let's go deeper. Let's face challenges and
Yes.
reflect on what is the nature of a genuine spiritual love, a, a true heart within all of this dukkha.
Mm.
And the hope then, uh, if we think of bhakti as a yoga now, as a means of integration, of coming together, um, being integral, being whole, we can think of Bhakti Yoga as a return to our inherent nature and a return to an inherent yearning for a world that is not permeated by dukkha, that is not defined by dukkha, a
Mm,
longing, a yearning for this. I think these deep components of envisioning a world that is not so driven by the forces of dukkha,
mm,
and then actually enacting them,
mm.
putting them into practice.
Yes.
So bhakti as a practice.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
so, it's so grounding, Bill, to hear that. Because yes, I do get the sense when I hear Bhakti Yoga. It's, you said soft and fuzzy. I hear like warm and fuzzy.
mm,
And I mean, that's true, like a nature of love, but also there's like, fierce grace, as Ramdas
mm,
talks about, and
mm,
tough love. And
mm,
I just think there's so much more depth in this idea of the courage to stand in and for who we truly are. Like, I
mm,
want this workshop to be a reminder to all of us, hey,
mm,
don't forget, like, this is who we are, and we have this
mm,
power to come together. And
mm,
like you said, enact, which I think is a very empowering word, that we have agency. I mean, this is all part of the
mm.
Tantra approach, too,
Yeah,
is that our voice matters, our self really matters, but we need the courage to stand in the wake of all this fear
right.
and challenge, where
Yeah,
it's almost like it's 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 more challenging than what any of us can do, and yet the heart is in a way demanding us to stay true to it, and what it takes inside of us to stay true to our heart is,
yeah.
I think, a very fulfilling, satisfying, and radical life
I was
choice.
just going to say it's a choice. It is a choice. We don't have to be pushed by the vectors of fear and resentment, as I said. It is a
Mm,
choice, and it's a choice that, in some ways, in many ways, goes against what the world at this point is choosing. So it is a
yes,
radical choice. Yes,
yes.
it may include soft and warm fuzziness, and it's a radical choice. And there is a kind
Mm,
of, you mentioned Ram Dass and fierce grace. There is a kind of fierceness to it.
mm,
But that fierceness is grounded in compassion.
mm.
And compassion can be very, very strong, or is very, very strong. It doesn't,
Yes, yes.
it, it's not fluffy.
Right. Good word.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
compassion.
yeah, compassion. I also, I like that we're calling it a workshop because,
Mm,
and I might say what I envision in my part to be.
mm, mm.
Uh, I envision bringing to the sessions um, my translations of passages from yogic texts,
Mm.
sharing them with people, um, and then talking about it.
Yeah.
I envision a kind of contemplative study,
Mm.
um, and kind of a contemplative workshop in a way,
Yes.
informed by yoga philosophy, drawing from texts from the Bhakti tradition, but also commentaries on these texts, and like the Bhagavad Gita, maybe a commentary, a tantric commentary, a Gita Artha Sangraha or something.
Hmm.
The Narada Bhakti Sutra, the Bhagavata Purana, those sorts of things. And
Yeah.
we talk about it as a workshop, you see, and then you you embody, you bring the physical practices
Mm.
into the workshop, and then there is the integration of contemplative study with active practice. And
Yeah.
it sounds very integrated to me.
Yeah, it really,
Mhm,
that's why I love doing these workshops. And you and I,
mhm,
we've done this before. We taught
mhm,
together a
mhm,
couple of times in the
mhm.
past. And exactly as you said, it's like I want the embodied wisdom, knowledge, integration of the ancient teachings as they're illuminated by you in a contemporary way, So it's like the Bhakti teachings, not just warm and fuzzy, but it has teeth, and it's very useful today to lift us up. You know, it's so easy
Mhm.
to just go down in the hole and
Mhm.
and go into, like you said, the anger, the resentment, but also resignation,
Mhm.
hopelessness, helplessness. And these
Mhm.
are all, I'm sure, features of dukkha.
Mhm.
But to hear the inspiring teachings to uplift us, to give us the strength, and to know that we're not alone in this. Like I want us to come together and say, hey, you know, how do we act? How do we, what are some of the practices we can do? And how can we steep ourselves, like our heart, our soul, into the truth? Because we're being fed so much um, non-truth. We could say it's a perspective that diminishes the value of each individual as a divine
Mhm.
being. And
Mhm.
I just, you know, we got to say no to that.
Mhm.
And so I'm looking forward to that. And I love interacting with you, and I love the, you know, bringing the teachings. You know, I know there's going to be something that you say that I've not heard before, and then that just takes me into a whole um, process of inspiration around the
Yeah.
asana, so that by the end of it, we have two full sessions that we're doing a month apart, but you know, they're like 3 hour chunks. It's
Mhm.
enough time to actually bring about a deep reflection,
Mhm.
and even, you know, uh, a shift, like a transformational shift.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
We can, me too. I mean, and we can think of this as also aligned with yogic teachings that says that just as there is dukkha, so too there is sukha. Uh, kind of the opposite of dukkha, and we can think of our lives as oriented toward sukha,
Yes,
compassion and benevolence and
yes.
graciousness and yeah, good.
Beautiful. And, you know, I know it's like a bhakti tradition, but also it's so reflective of the later tantric tradition,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
is, you know, our work in tantra, at least how I see it, is to embrace the full spectrum of
Hmm.
ourselves,
Hmm.
shadow and light. And although we don't want to live in dukkha, a way to live in sukha, we can't resist. We can't fight the dark. It's like
Hmm.
just turn on the light, and to
Hmm.
bring that compassion to ourselves, to hold, to recognize, to acknowledge the suffering, but then to extract the wisdom out of the dukkha to help us move forward in the direction that the heart really, really wants to take us, which is,
Hmm.
it wants us to remember we're already whole and complete inside. And we can call it sukha, we can call it warm and fuzzy, but basically, when we're well regulated, when we're well integrated in ourselves and connected to the bigger energy, that's when this wellspring of joy comes up. And in that is creativity. And it
Hmm.
helps us understand how to keep our joy even during challenging times like
Okay.
this.